Hello YouTube, Jason from Renegade Rants Comics. Today coming at you with a new video. I ended up catching COVID, made it through the entire pandemic without ever having it, had all my vaccinations, and then it just knocked the stuffing out of me. So, kind of getting over that, and was able to finally make it to the CNY, or Central New York, toy, comic, sporting card expo at the Salmon Run Mall in Watertown today. There wasn't a lot of comic vendors. There was a lot of toy vendors. I tried getting some footage and nothing came out right. And the one place that actually had the comic that I got a lot of comics from, there was so many people just kind of hovering around that table, and a couple of them asked me not to record them, so just out of courtesy, I didn't record the hunt. But I do have some good books that I want to show you, so I'll show you what I picked up. So I have Return of the New Gods, number 13. And then this is Jerry Conway and Al Milgrom. Fallen Sun, The Death of Captain America and Wolverine. I got Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner. Marvel Comic presents Weapon X 74. And this is a key. It's kind of low grade, but it's the origin of the Wolverine experiment, where the final binding of the adamantium to Logan's skeleton. And this was Barry Windsor Smith, both art and writing. Then I was actually trying to get more DC. I grew up on DC. I didn't have much Marvel. My Uncle Vern was a huge... I had Legion of Superheroes and Superboy, and of course I don't have them anymore, which I regret, but those were the comics that I grew up with. And, you know, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, that kind of thing. So, as I got older, I got huge into Ghost Rider, so I kind of leaned more towards the Marvel side of things. That's what most of my collection is. I do have some DC in there. I do actually have a Jonah Hex run that I want to show on the channel, even though that's kind of a controversial character. But I decided I was going to try to pick up some more DC, so I actually saw this, and this was Action Comics Weekly Demon. And Jack Kirby cover. It's got multiple stories in there, multiple writers, and I really couldn't make heads or tails on key collector who was in it, but I just actually like the cover of it. But I actually, when I was trying to get some information on it, I found this was actually stuck in the pages, so I don't know if this was some kind of something that was picked up at like maybe a con, but it looks like somebody actually colored it. Maybe it was drawn. I'm not 100% sure, so if anyone recognizes that, if they want to bleep bloop it in the comments down below, I would greatly appreciate to know what that is. So then I found The Secret Defenders number 1. Some foil goodness, and this was Roy Thomas and Andre Coates. And then this one I couldn't actually believe, and these are all dollar books, and they had a sale on them. I think it was if you got 12, it was $10 kind of thing. So this is X-Force and Cable, and this is a key. It's the classic battle of Cable versus Deadpool, and Greg Capullo and Fabian Nicieza. I know I have a signed comic that he signed Fabian, so I'm just going to say Fabian. Now this one is one that I have literally saw in multiple dollar bins, and I thought I have owned it. So it's New Mutants 18, and every time I end up putting it back, and every time I come home and I realize I don't have that. So I picked this up. Saki, it's the first cameo of Warlock, first appearance of Demon Bear, and of course it's Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz. But the only thing that kind of takes away from it is there's some kind of writing up in there, and I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I am so glad to finally add this to my collection, especially for $1. This one was an idiot buy. So, Bloodiest Part 5, or Blood Ties Part 5 of 5, the final chapter of the X-Men Avengers crossover. And I looked at it and I said, oh my god, foil goodness. Now you can see it on the camera. Right there, that giant crease. That was only $1, but I'm telling you, when I looked at this, I missed it, but then I was going to put it back, and it got stuck in the pile of books, and I ended up buying it anyway, so, whoops. So then, I was able to find Hellstrom, Prince of Lies, he's back, #1. And then this is Michael Baer and Rafael Nieves. And I was able to get 1, 2, and again, Nieves and Baer. And then 3. And then jumping back to the, I know I said I was going to try to pick up more DC, and then I completely went straight back into my Marvel. But I found this, and this was Deadman #3. And Andrew Helfer and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And then I found Captain America #225, and this is rough. But I picked it up because I've seen everybody on their different channels always picks up like the birth month, birth year comic. So far this is the closest one I've got, because this is from 1978, September of 78, and I was born in February of 78. So it's a little after me, but it was Steve Gerber and Sal Buscema on that one. But it's got a detached cover, and then somebody had actually used this, and if you actually look at it, it's got markings on it, but I figured just to throw it in the run. And then we have, this I think is a trade, but Wolverine Evolution. And this was Ann Nocenti, or Nocenti, I'm sorry, and Mark Teixeira on that. And I dislike Teixeira's art, I always have. Teixeira. This one actually was a good pickup. Dead Man's Hand, The Punisher War Journal 47. And this was Chuck Dixon and John Hebert on it. But I needed this for my Punisher War Journal run, so I've completed the 90s regular Punisher run, so I'm working on the, 80s, 90s War Journal and War Zone, so, but those I usually see a lot at Terrificon in the 50-cent bins, like I picked a whole bunch up this year, so I'm not going to try to spend any kind of money that was $1, kind of thing, and just pick it up that way. And then this, Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine 90. Pick that up. And then I do have an Iron Man run, so I figured I might as well get a couple Iron Man. So Acts of Vengeance, Iron Man 252. And then this was Herb Trumpke and Graham McDuffel. Another Iron Man Armor Wars #2, and this is Iron Man 261. And this was John Byrne as the writer and John Romita Jr. on the cover, I believe. Or at least that's what I was able to look up. Then, going back to some DC, I saw this, and to save mankind, they became the Night Force. I have no idea anything about it, but it was Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan. This one I've seen on other channels, and is actually surprised at the condition it is, that it is actually in the dollar bin. But Action Comics 685, Funeral for a Friend 2, with the iconic Supergirl with the car, which is a key. It's the Funeral for a Friend Part 2, and the cover was inspired by Action Comics #1 from 1938. So, Roger Stern and Butch Geese. Then Marvel Comics Annual Part 4 X Factor. And this was actually in pretty good shape, so I decided to pick that up. And cover art was Mike Mignola, and Fabian was the writer on that one. Captain America 341, Cap versus Iron Man. So this was a key, and I couldn't believe how big of a key this thing actually is. So it's the first Battlestar, first appearance of Rock Python, the first cameo of Coach Whip, the first cameo of Boomslang, first appearance of Left Winger and Right Winger, which in today's political climate, I'm thinking I'm going to enjoy this read. And cover art was inspired by Daredevil #43 from 1968. So I figured I'd pick that up. The next book is one that I bought straight off of a comic book rack at that tobacco shop that I used to go to all the time. And it was after the death of Superman. I kind of was trying to pick up a lot of the issues, and Back from the Dead, The Adventures of Superman #11. And I used to sleep with this book. Like, not in a creepy way, but like I would actually read this thing, fall asleep reading it, wake up, finish reading it, read it over and over and over again. I don't know if anyone hasn't actually read it, but it's a key. It's the first John Henry as Steel, and it's all the appearances of everybody that basically became the Superman. So it's first John Henry Steel, first appearance Connor Kent as Superboy, first appearance of Cyborg Superman Hank Henshaw, first Eradicator, and each character was introduced briefly in this, and then they were featured in their own series. And I had most of those. Again, I don't know what happened to a lot of my early stuff. Just, got left, got tossed, something. But I decided to pick this one back up because this actually brings back a lot of memories for me. And the best part is that if anyone hasn't actually read this, the storyline is actually really amazing. Jonathan Kent is having a massive heart attack, and he goes in the beyond, and he runs into Clark, and he's trying to work with Clark, but he's kind of like flashbacking and reliving his life. But Clark's kind of like in these scenes in his life, like when he was in the war, that kind of thing. And he's trying, and they always end up in like a different scenario. So it's kind of like almost a quantum leap, I want to say. And it did come out in like 93. So, but really happy to pick this up. Kind of brings back a lot of childhood memories for me. So then I found The Defenders #120. And I really didn't have any defenders, but this was Jam DeMatteis and Don Perkin and the art on that. But I figure since I got the Ghost Rider that had the Son of Satan in it, I might as well actually try to read some things that had the Son of Satan. This one, Cable #1. And this is the first Sincere and Clan Chosen and the origin of Cable. And of course, this was Fabian and Art Thiebert. Then Special Mr. Miracle #1. And this was Mark Avanier and Steve Rude. And then the last one was The Demon 21. And this was Alan Grant, and the cover was Val Semekis. So that was pretty much my haul. It was a really interesting thing. Our mall is dying, I think, like most malls across the country. Like a store goes in, all the anchor stores are going out. We had Dick's Sporting Goods in ours, and they've moved a location. Burlington Coat Factory is going to be moving. So, this being kind of in the middle of the mall kind of thing with the card table set up, and the card dealers, they were doing really, really well. I'm hoping that something like this does really well. But I was also kind of concerned because Patriot Flipper just opened up in the last few months in that mall, and I didn't want this to kind of, knock his business at all kind of thing. But I actually think it brought a few people into a shop. I actually stopped in there just to look around because I actually felt guilty going to this. But I got all of these for $1 and got one heck of a bundle deal on a lot of them. So, and a lot of the stuff I don't need, but I'm trying to branch out my collection a little bit. So, where have you been hunting? Like, what are some of the things that you picked up? Do you want to comment down below? Do you think any of the pickups were really, really good? Do you think some of the pickups were... Why would you pick that up? Even if it is $1, that's a 50-cent book. Let me know down below. But I hope everyone has a safe and happy rest of the weekend. And if you're hunting, good luck.